The Zephyrian scout ship, Whisper of Stars, drifted silently through the void, its advanced sensors sweeping across the unknown vessel that had appeared at the edge of their territory. Captain Veltar's 4 eyes focused intently on the holographic display showing the massive ship before them. "By the Ancient Ones," whispered Science Officer Kriya, her tentacles trembling as she worked the scanning console. "The size of this thing, it's nearly 3 kilometers long." The human battleship, Indomitable, hung motionless in space, its dark gray hull reflecting the distant starlight. To the Zephyrians, it looked like a sleeping giant, brutal, angular, and covered in what appeared to be weapon ports. "Begin deep scan protocols," ordered Captain Veltar. "I want to know everything about this vessel. What species built it? What technology they use, and most importantly, are they a threat to the collective?" The Zephyrian collective had ruled this sector of space for over 10,000 years. They had encountered dozens of alien species, most of which had either joined their peaceful alliance or been quietly discouraged from expanding into collective territory. Their technology was advanced, their society refined, and their military had never faced a serious challenge. Kriya's scanning beams reached out across space, penetrating the hull of the human ship. What she found in the first few minutes made her pause. "Captain, the hull composition is unusual. It appears to be some kind of composite metal I've never seen before. Dense, incredibly dense. And the energy readings—" She paused, her voice growing uncertain. "Sir, I'm detecting massive power generation systems. Whatever runs this ship, it's producing more energy than our entire fleet combined." "Impossible," scoffed Commander Zixlow, the ship's weapons officer. "No civilization in this galaxy has power systems that advanced. Your scanners must be malfunctioning." But as the deep scan continued, the readings only became more disturbing. The human battleship wasn't just large, it was packed with technology that defied everything the Zephyrians thought they knew about warfare. "Captain," Kriya's voice was now barely a whisper, "I'm reading the weapon systems. There are over 400 individual weapon installations on this ship. Projectile weapons, energy weapons, and something else. Something I can't identify." The bridge fell silent except for the soft humming of the ship's systems. In their long history, the largest Zephyrian battleship carried maybe 30 weapons. The idea of a single vessel mounting hundreds of weapons seemed absurd. "Show me the crew areas," ordered the captain, hoping that at least the biological readings would make sense. The scanner penetrated deeper into the ship, mapping corridors and rooms. What it found made the entire bridge crew step back in shock. "Captain, there are over 8,000 life forms aboard that vessel. 8,000. Our largest ships carry maybe 500 crew members. How do they coordinate so many beings?" But it wasn't just the numbers that disturbed them. The scans revealed that these creatures, these humans, were built differently than any species the Zephyrians had encountered. Where most intelligent species in the galaxy were relatively fragile, having evolved on peaceful worlds, these beings appeared to be naturally robust. "Look at their bone density," Kriya pointed to her readings. "It's nearly 3 times what we'd consider normal. Their muscle structure suggests incredible physical strength. And their cardiovascular systems. Captain, these beings appear to be built for extreme physical stress." The weapons officer leaned over the console, studying the biological data. "What kind of world would produce creatures like this?" "Let me scan for their planet of origin." Kriya worked frantically at her console. "If we can find where they came from, maybe we can understand what we're dealing with." The long-range sensors reached out, following the ship's ion trail back through space. What they found when they located the human homeworld made the entire crew go silent. "This can't be right," stammered Kriya. "The planet they come from, it's a death world." The display showed Earth in all its terrifying glory. massive oceans that could swallow their ships, continents covered in violent weather systems, and a gravity well that would crush most galactic species. The atmospheric pressure is poisonous to most life, Kriya continued reading the data. Oxygen levels that would be toxic to us, weather patterns that include electrical storms spanning entire continents, and seismic activity that regularly reshapes their land masses. "And they evolved there naturally?" asked the captain, his voice filled with disbelief. "According to these readings, not only did they evolve there, they've spread across their entire planet. They live in frozen wastelands, burning deserts, and regions with atmospheric pressure that would kill us instantly." Commander Zixlow pulled up the military scan data. "Captain, I'm looking at their weapons technology. These projectile weapons, they're not energy-based at all. They're kinetic. They literally throw pieces of metal at incredible velocities." "Primitive," scoffed the captain. "No, sir. Not primitive. Effective. These weapons would punch right through our energy shields. Our entire defensive doctrine is based on deflecting energy weapons. These kinetic projectiles would hit our ships like they had no protection at all." The mood on the bridge was shifting from curiosity to concern. This wasn't just another primitive species they could easily manage. These humans represented something the Zephyrian collective had never encountered, a species that had evolved for war. "Continue the scan," ordered Captain Veltar, though his confident tone was beginning to waver. "I want to know about their faster-than-light technology, their communications systems, and their manufacturing capabilities." As the scanners dove deeper into the human ship's systems, each new discovery added to their growing alarm. The humans didn't just have one type of faster-than-light drive, they had 3 different backup systems. Their communications array could punch signals across the galaxy with a clarity that surpassed Zephyrian technology. Most disturbing of all, the ship appeared to carry its own manufacturing systems, capable of producing ammunition, spare parts, and even entire smaller spacecraft. "Captain," Kriya's voice was now shaking, "this isn't just a warship. It's a mobile fortress, a factory, and a colony ship all in one. These humans, they've built their entire civilization around the concept of warfare." The captain stared at the motionless human battleship, beginning to understand that his people might have encountered something far more dangerous than they ever imagined. Science Officer Kriya's tentacles moved frantically across her console as new data poured in from the deep scan. What she discovered next made her entire body freeze with terror. "Captain, I'm detecting something impossible in their databanks. These humans, they've been fighting wars for their entire recorded history, not just with other species, with themselves." Captain Veltar's eyes widened. In Zephyrian culture, once a species reached spaceflight capability, they typically unified under a single government. Internal warfare was considered a sign of primitive thinking. "That can't be accurate," Commander Zixlow protested. "No species could advance technologically while constantly fighting internal wars." "The data doesn't lie," Kriya replied, her voice trembling. "According to their historical records, they've fought thousands of wars, major conflicts involving millions of their kind, lasting for years at a time. And they're still not unified. They have hundreds of separate governments even now." The scanner had penetrated the ship's computer core, revealing detailed records of human military history. The Zephyrian crew watched in horror as battle after battle flashed across their screens. "Look at this," Kriya highlighted a particular conflict. "They call it World War II. In just 6 years, over 70 million of their kind died. 70 million! That's more than the entire population of most civilized worlds." "How is that possible?" whispered the captain. "How could any species survive such massive losses?" "Because they breed like madness." Kriya pulled up demographic data. "Their homeworld contains over 8 billion individuals. 8 billion. And they're spreading to other planets in their system." The weapons officer studied the combat data with professional interest, despite his growing fear. Captain, look at how they fight. They don't just use advanced weapons. They use everything. Rocks, sticks, their bare hands if necessary. They've turned warfare into an art form. The scanner revealed more disturbing details about human military doctrine. Unlike other species that sought quick, decisive victories, humans appeared to specialize in prolonged conflicts. They had developed strategies for fighting in every conceivable environment and situation. They have weapons designed specifically for fighting in space, on planets, underground, underwater, and even inside the atmospheres of gas giants, Kriya reported. They've thought of scenarios that never occurred to our military planners. Captain Veltar ordered his communications officer to contact the collective high command. This discovery was too important to handle alone. High Command, this is Scout Ship Whisper of Stars. We've discovered a species that requires immediate attention from the Defense Council. The response came quickly. Admiral Thelmos appeared on the communication screen, his ancient features showing mild interest. Captain Veltar, what could be so urgent that you bypass normal reporting channels? Admiral, we've encountered humans. They possess military technology and doctrine that could threaten the entire collective. Admiral Thelmos's expression shifted from mild interest to amusement. Captain, the collective has faced dozens of warrior species. Our peaceful integration protocols have never failed. Sir, respectfully, this is different. These humans have never known peace. Their entire civilization is built around conflict. Impossible. No species could advance to spaceflight without learning cooperation. Captain Veltar nodded to Kriya, who transmitted their scan data to the Admiral's flagship. The silence that followed stretched for several minutes as the High Command reviewed the information. When Admiral Thelmos finally spoke again, his confident expression had vanished. Captain, confirm this data. These numbers can't be accurate. All confirmed, sir. Multiple independent sensor sweeps. Back on the human battleship. Indomitable. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge reviewing the day's patrol reports. Her ship was conducting routine border surveillance, unaware that alien sensors were penetrating every inch of their vessel. Ma'am, we're picking up some unusual electromagnetic signatures, reported Lieutenant Commander Jackson from the sensor station. Looks like active scanning beams, but not from any human technology I recognize. Captain Chen moved to the sensor console. Show me. The display revealed the Zephyrian scout ship, barely visible against the cosmic background. Interesting. A first contact situation. Number of ships? Just one visible, ma'am. Small vessel, maybe 200 meters. Appears to be conducting long-range reconnaissance. Captain Chen smiled grimly. After 20 years in the Earth Defense Fleet, she'd trained for this moment her entire career. General quarters, battle stations, but do not power weapons systems. Let's see what they want. The ship transformed as 8,000 crew members moved to combat positions with practiced efficiency. What the Zephyrians interpreted as a routine crew rotation was actually a military force preparing for potential battle. Aboard the alien scout ship, Kriya's sensors detected the sudden change in the human vessel. Captain, something's happening. Energy signatures are shifting throughout their ship. Are they preparing to attack? I don't know. Their power distribution just reorganized completely in under 2 minutes. Either they have incredibly advanced automation, or their crew coordination abilities are beyond anything we've seen. The truth was simpler and more terrifying. Humans had learned to shift from peaceful operations to combat readiness faster than any other species because they'd spent millennia practicing for war. Captain Veltar made a decision. Open a communication channel. We need to establish contact. The transmission reached the Indomitable seconds later. Captain Chen listened to the alien greeting translated by her ship's computer systems. Unknown vessel, this is Captain Veltar of the Zephyrian Collective. We greet you in the name of peace and scientific curiosity. Captain Chen responded carefully. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Fleet battleship Indomitable. You are in human space. State your intentions." The simple exchange sent shockwaves through the Zephyrian ship. The humans had detected them despite their advanced stealth systems. More importantly, this vessel was just one ship in a larger military fleet. "Captain," Kria's voice was barely audible. "If this is just one battleship in their fleet, and they have 8,000 crew members on this single vessel, how large is their entire military?" The question hung in the air like a death sentence. The Zephyrian collective had maintained peace through technological superiority and careful diplomacy. They had never encountered a species that might actually be stronger than they were. "Continue scanning," ordered Captain Veltar. "I need to know everything about their military capabilities before we proceed with contact." As the scanners delved deeper into human military records, they discovered something that chilled the alien crew to their cores. The humans weren't just good at warfare, they enjoyed it. Their entertainment, their sports, their games, even their courtship rituals often involved some form of conflict or competition. "Captain," Kria's voice was now filled with pure terror. "According to their cultural databases, they have a saying, 'If you want peace, prepare for war.' Their entire philosophy is built around the concept that only the strong survive." The Zephyrian crew began to realize they weren't just dealing with another spacefaring species. They had encountered something unprecedented in galactic history, a race of natural-born warriors who had turned survival of the fittest into an art form. Admiral Thelmos's flagship arrived within hours, accompanied by half the collective's home defense fleet. The sight of 20 Zephyrian warships dropping out of hyperspace should have been impressive. But Captain Chen merely noted their arrival with professional interest. "Interesting design philosophy," she commented, studying the alien vessels. "They favor energy weapons and defensive shields. Traditional space combat doctrine." Her tactical officer nodded. "Should we call for reinforcements, ma'am?" "Not yet. Let's see what they want first." Aboard the Zephyrian flagship, Admiral Thelmos stared at the human battleship with growing unease. Even surrounded by his fleet, the single human vessel somehow felt threatening. "Report," he ordered as Captain Veltar came aboard. "Admiral, everything in our initial scans has been confirmed. This species represents a threat unlike anything the collective has encountered. Show me their weapons capabilities again." The holographic display revealed the Indomitable's armaments in terrifying detail. Railguns capable of accelerating projectiles to significant fractions of light speed. Missile systems with warheads that could crack continents. Energy weapons that could slice through their shielding like it wasn't there. "But sir, that's not the worst part," Captain Veltar continued. "Our cultural analysis shows that humans don't just fight to win, they fight to survive. Every conflict in their history shows the same pattern. They never surrender, they never quit, and they learn from every defeat." Science Officer Kria stepped forward. "Admiral, I've been analyzing their ship's construction. It's not just a warship. It's designed to keep fighting even when severely damaged. They have backup systems for their backup systems. They've anticipated battle damage that would destroy any of our vessels." Admiral Thelmos studied the data with growing alarm. "What about their technology levels? Can we match their capabilities?" "In some areas, yes. In others..." Kria paused. "Admiral, they have weapons we don't understand. Something they call kinetic bombardment systems. Instead of using energy weapons, they literally drop metal rods from orbit. The destructive power rivals our most advanced energy cannons, but uses no exotic technology at all." "Primitive but effective," muttered the Admiral. "That's exactly the problem, sir. They take simple concepts and make them devastatingly efficient. Their missiles don't rely on complex guidance systems. They use what they call fire-and-forget technology combined with swarming tactics." The communications officer interrupted. "Admiral, the human ship is requesting another conversation." "Put them through." Captain Chen appeared on the main screen, her expression calm and professional. "Admiral Thelmos, I believe. Your ships have been scanning ours for several hours. While we appreciate scientific curiosity, continued unauthorized reconnaissance could be interpreted as a hostile act." The Admiral felt a chill run down his spine. The human captain spoke casually about interpreting their actions as hostile, as if the concept of warfare was completely natural to her. "Captain Chen, we mean no harm. The Zephyrian Collective seeks only peaceful contact with new species." "Excellent. However, you should know that Earth Defense Fleet protocols require me to inform you that you are currently in human territorial space. While you're welcome to peaceful passage, military reconnaissance activities require prior authorization." Admiral Thelmos realized he was being politely but firmly warned to stop his scanning activities by a single ship facing an entire fleet. "Of course, Captain. Perhaps we could arrange a formal diplomatic meeting. I'd be happy to facilitate first contact procedures. I should warn you, though, that our standard protocols will require a full diplomatic escort." "How many ships does that involve?" asked the Admiral carefully. Captain Chen smiled. And somehow that smile was the most terrifying thing any of the Zephyrians had seen. Standard escort for first contact with an unknown fleet of this size would be approximately 50 battleships and support vessels. The bridge fell silent. 50 ships like the Indomitable would outgun the entire collective home fleet. "Captain," Admiral Thelmos said carefully, "exactly how many ships does Earth Defense Fleet operate?" "I'm not authorized to discuss specific fleet strengths with foreign powers, Admiral. But I can tell you that the Sol system alone operates over 300 vessels of this class or larger." Captain Veltar's legs nearly gave out. 300 ships like this one, just in their home system. How many more did they have spread across their territory? "However," Captain Chen continued, "I should clarify something. Earth Defense Fleet represents only one of humanity's military branches. We handle space-based operations. The individual planet systems maintain their own defense forces." Admiral Thelmos felt his world crumble. Not only did the humans have massive space fleets, they had additional military forces he hadn't even considered. "Captain Chen, may I ask, how many star systems does humanity control?" "Currently colonized systems number in the hundreds. We've been expanding steadily for the past century. Each system maintains full defensive capabilities, of course." The implications hit the Zephyrian leadership like a physical blow. This wasn't just one powerful ship or even one powerful fleet. This was an entire civilization built for war, with military capabilities that dwarfed anything the collective could muster. Science Officer Kriya whispered urgently to the Admiral. "Sir, I've been monitoring their internal communications during this conversation. Their crew discipline is incredible. Not one person has shown signs of stress or concern despite being outnumbered 20-1. "That's because they're not concerned," Admiral Thelmos realized with growing horror. "They don't see this as a threatening situation." Captain Chen's voice came through the speakers again. "Admiral, I should mention that this conversation is being monitored by Fleet Command. If you'd prefer to arrange formal diplomatic contact, I can put you in touch with the appropriate authorities." "Fleet Command?" the Admiral asked weakly. "Our Central Military Coordination Facility. They'll want to establish proper communication protocols before any major diplomatic initiatives begin." Admiral Thelmos looked around his bridge at the finest military minds the collective had produced. Every face showed the same expression of dawning terror. The humans weren't just more advanced militarily. They were organized on a scale that the collective had never imagined. Central military coordination across hundreds of star systems, standardized ship classes, integrated defense networks, and backup systems for everything. Captain Chen, the Admiral said slowly, the Zephyrian Collective has a proposal. We would very much like to establish peaceful relations with humanity. That's wonderful to hear, Admiral. I'm sure our diplomatic corps will be pleased to open formal negotiations. Perhaps we could discuss mutual defense agreements as well. Captain Chen's smile returned, and this time the Admiral realized it wasn't threatening. It was genuinely friendly. I think humanity would be very interested in such discussions, Admiral. After all, there's a lot of dangerous territory out in the galaxy. It's always good to have reliable allies. As the conversation concluded, and both fleets prepared to arrange formal diplomatic contact, Admiral Thelmos understood that everything had changed. The Zephyrian Collective had ruled their region of space through technological superiority and careful diplomacy. Now they had encountered a species that surpassed them in technology, organization, and military doctrine. But instead of conquest, these humans offered alliance. The Admiral realized that perhaps the most terrifying thing about humanity wasn't their weapons or their fleets. It was their capacity to turn potential enemies into friends, while maintaining the clear ability to destroy anyone who chose to remain hostile. The Collective would soon learn that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't kinetic bombardment or massive battle fleets. It was their ability to inspire both respect and genuine friendship, while never allowing anyone to forget exactly how dangerous it would be to threaten them. The age of Zephyrian dominance was over. The age of human-led galactic cooperation was about to begin.